Hi, Sophie.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, everyone. And welcome to Saturday Night Snack Elden
The
Ring,
ring.
Episode 2. And today
Good.
we're going to talk about Godrick.
All right. Good. How have you beaten Godrick yet?
Sophie, we have to clear something up. You've been telling people that I didn't beat Godrick.
Yeah.
I'll let it slide.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is, I beat Godrick a long time ago. That's where I stopped.
Oh, okay. So
This is the
So
mug I
you've
was talking about last time. This is during the intro. They're like, "Oh, nice Fallout mug."
so you've beaten Godrick, but
I
you're
also
not
have a lot of
past
Fallout
Godrick.
merchandise behind me.
You certainly do. So you've beaten Godrick, but you're not past Godrick.
Sorry, Todd Howard just sent me a message.
Okay.
Dear Sin, thank you for being my most loyal Fallout fan. Signed, Todd. P.S. I know your boyfriend is the number one fan, actually, but I didn't want to make you feel left out.
Interesting how Todd Howard has the voice that you use for people who annoy you.
Thank you.
And also the voice we were doing for Pride or Rykard before we recorded.
And this is also my Godric voice.
Yeah, you only really have the one, don't you?
Also, this was not on purpose, but Baby Yoda's here and I'm wearing a Baby Yoda shirt.
Good.
It just happened. Yes, to answer your very accusatory question, I have beaten Godric, but nothing past him.
Okay.
So, Sophie, Godric.
Yes. Yeah.
That's really cruel. That's mean. That's like a horror movie, you know?
Did you see what Godric was like before, though?
Average?
Average what?
Just average Godric. So, Sophie, are you sure that Godwin is not his father?
We don't know, because there's Godfrey.
Yeah.
There's Godwin.
Yes.
Godefroy.
Yes.
Godric.
Yes.
I don't know, how many are in between each one. I do think Godwin, based on, his importance, is probably, it probably goes Godfrey, Godwin. Then I'm not 100% sure, where Godefroy shows up.
Sorry. My brain just, you know how you can only hold 5 plus minus 2 Godfreys in your head? Okay, so okay.
This is what it was like when they were writing it. He's like George. I keep all these Godwins in my head, George.
Yes. Okay, wait,
Okay.
Sophie. wait. So Godwin is the one that got killed. He's America's son.
Godwin is the one who got killed. He's probably Marika's son.
Godfrey is the JoJo character.
Yes, Godfrey is the guy who Marika marries. He's probably Godwin's father. Yeah.
Yeah, and oh my god, what's the name of Marika's second husband?
Radagon.
Radagon. Okay, so he's not part of this. That's right. He's the Rad family. Okay. So what I meant to say is Godrick is the son of Godfrey and Marika. We'll say that.
Which are you?
I'm just gonna say that. Yeah.
I don't
need
think
a family
so.
tree.
I don't think so.
Okay, then tell me who his parents are.
That's what I was getting at. Is he's probably multiple. All right, his parents are Godfriscus and Velma.
Okay, thank you. Now, does Godrick have any siblings?
In the game or in your imagination?
Just answer the question, Miss Sophie. Does Godric have any
Dr. Sophie.
siblings? I apologize.
Thank
Just
you.
answer the question, Dr.
Um,
Sophie.
I don't think he currently has any siblings, because if he did, he would probably have killed them.
My humidifier disagrees with you. Let me go turn it off. I just had a vision. So when I wrote my notes for Godric, the header, I accidentally made a typo and wrote Godrick. So you know how RuPaul has a saboteur. His name is Rude Paul, and maybe Godric has an anti-saboteur whose name is Goodrick.
As I was going to say, right.
Yes.
So, after you beat Godric, right,
Yes.
there's a bunch of quests you can do that get Godric replaced by Nefeli Lu.
Yes. Who could be his sister? Because I'm right. Because Godfrey is his father, and Marek is his mother,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
but
half sister.
okay.
Thank you.
What I was getting at is like if the people that put Nefeli on the throne, though, they don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, what I'm saying is, if Godric had any siblings or offspring, or his siblings had any offspring, they would probably have put them on the throne. So the fact that it's Nefeli that does it makes me think that Godric's probably the end of the lineage.
Okay. Thank you,
Unless you
Sophie.
count Kenneth Hyde, who's a slightly confusing character.
Thank you, Sophie. Who are Godric's grandparents?
Godefroy and Go, Godly Honora.
Does he have any aunts or uncles?
The family trees in this are a fucking mess, okay?
Thank you, Sophie.
His fucking uncle might be one of the giant corpses in Bokron, I don't know.
Sophie, we actually meet Godric before we play Elden Ring in one of the old trailers, where he's a little guy putting on an arm.
Yes. Yeah. Is there a question attached to that, or are you just...
Situating
That's like
Godric
those
as a little
MTV,
guy.
like, pop-up video facts.
Yes, yes, yeah. um, why do you think he felt the need to make himself look mightier with all the arms?
Because he's trying to live up to the legend that is Godfrey.
Who's his
So
father?
he's... I don't think it's his father.
Oh, yes. Yes, we decided. We decided. Yes.
Is this going to be videoed? Because
Oh,
the face you
where's
just
the
did was extremely good.
let me do the thing people do, just put a sticky on my camera so nobody sees this. Where do you think he got the idea of, like, you know how to make myself more powerful? More arms.
Well,
Like,
presumably he got it from Godefroy.
where did Godfrey get the idea?
Do you want me to tell you where I think he got the idea from?
Yes.
So there's a bunch of stuff in Elden Ring that's like incorporating like the body parts of other creatures into yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually like a thing that's been going on for a while about how you make yourself more powerful. So like the Crucible Knights, like they touch the Crucible and it gives them like wings and tails and things.
Mm-hmm.
And like Godfrey himself, like he fuses with Sarosh on his back to like make himself into somebody else. So it's this
Yeah.
continuous thing throughout the bloodline of like you can sort of like merge with stuff. So I think the idea is like Godfrey's whole thing. I'm counting Horaloo as Godfrey. Is he says like a crown is warranted through strength, and the way you make yourself stronger, if you're Godric, is you literally get the body parts of your own subjects and attach them to yourself, and you become this sort of amalgam.
When you were talking about it, I got like a really happy idea when you're like, Godric is merging with all these things. And I'm like, imagine you could merge yourself with like mochi ice cream or something. You would become the mochi ice cream.
If you eat enough of it, maybe.
Thank you, Sophie. Um, so at some point, the Shattering War happens. And
This is how we discuss Elden Ring. Imagine if you merge yourself with mochi ice cream. Oh, that would be so good. Anyway, the Shattering War happens. Next copy.
and Godric escapes from Lindell and goes all the way to Stormway Castle, where he's
Yeah.
like a squatter, I guess.
Well, it's his castle. I mean, he's the next
Is it
in
his
line.
castle?
He's the fucking descendant of the people that yeah, he's the king.
I thought he just took over a random castle. I thought he was like, okay, I need a place to stay now. Oh, okay, Stormway Castle.
One of the paintings,
Mm-hmm.
it shows like the place where Stormvale's built, but it's not there yet. So it's
Mm-hmm.
possible that like when Godfrey got kicked out of Lanedale, he like had Stormvale construct. Godrick had Stormvale constructed.
Mm-hmm.
That's possible because the timeline is a mess.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, okay. That's good. Good enough. And at some point during this whole thing, he challenged Melania? How did that go?
I am Melania, Blade of Mikola.
Oh, hi, Ingrid. Oh, what a kitten. Meow, 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 meow. So, while doing research for this, I had a vision where Godfrey is like, because he's like very. I don't get a very like noble, selfless aura from him necessarily.
Are we still talking about Godric, or are you changing to Godfrey now?
Oh, wait. Godric! Godric! God damn it.
Remember when the game came out, like, the trailers came out and people called him Arm King?
That makes more sense. That's
That, yeah, it
easier.
was much easier to follow when he was just Arm King.
Yeah, no, Godric. So I had this vision of Godric. Like, he's on Facebook all day, right? And then he gets the brilliant idea to just talk crap to Millennia. Like, oh, you suck at Millennia. And she's like, oh, yeah, come say it to my face. And he's like, oh. And so then they have a fight and she just, like, massacres him.
I feel like there was already, like, enough conflict going on with the Shattering that the addition of a Facebook argument is not necessary. I feel like you could cut. It's like Vike's quest line. You could sort of cut it from the game.
Thank you, Sophie. Um, and also when he escaped Lindell,
Mhm.
some people say he may have camouflaged himself to look like one of the common people to sort
Yeah.
of escape with everyone.
Yeah, you find an item called the Mimic Veil that, like,
Mhm.
it makes you blend into the environment,
Mhm.
and it turns you into like it's just the chameleon spell from Dark Souls. Like, it turns you into a piece of inanimate environments, like a statue or something.
Mhm.
And there's a reference to it says like Godric was a coward and he hid among the women.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not clear if those are the same thing. Did he disguise himself as a woman with the veil? Something like that, and yeah.
Okay. So again, not the most like anime protagonist aura is what I'm getting from him, you know?
No.
Before we get to Godric's boss fight, is there
Hmm.
something you like know about him that's significant from his past or getting to that point?
From his past.
Any more Facebook arguments? He has a whole grafting room in the castle. He has like an arm jerky room.
Oh, sir, we handle that till rooms of Elden Ring. No one seems to respect him.
Hmm.
He's always referred to as like he's a country bumpkin, someone calls him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like the runt of the litter. He's like a little scrawny guy.
Oh,
And you can see that like seems to be what pushed him to graft all these body parts onto himself. To
had a
like make
vision.
himself bigger. Oh yeah.
Did you say, oh, good? So basically, okay, he's like, he's a little guy and he's just
Mm-hmm.
sitting there watching TV. And then an infomercial comes on, and it's like, are you a little guy? Do you
Yeah.
wish you were a big guy? Well, give us a call. And it's like a clinic or something. We will make you big by grafting arms on you. And
It's like the Charles Atlas bodybuilding course.
what is that?
It was a famous thing. Used to be in magazines all the time, where it's like a comic strip, and there's this like scrawny guy walking along a beach,
Okay.
and everyone's making fun of him, and then he
Aw.
orders the Charles Atlas bodybuilding course online, and then next year summer rolls around, he's roided out, he's buff as fuck, and he's walking down the beach, and he like saves two girls, and it's like hero of the beach. It's like this could be you if you take the Charles Atlas bodybuilding course.
Same thing, but with arms.
Yeah,
But like, when we meet Godrick, um, his arms aren't necessarily threatening. It's more like,
they have axes in them.
yeah,
It's one
but
of the
I
most
could have
threatening
an
things an arm
axe.
can
And
do. Yeah, I'd be very threatened. I'm threatened by you now.
no, but you know what I mean? It's not like I imagine.
I'd like to point out to everyone listening. Sue was talking before about like audio levels, and she's like, "So we both record at the same level, but the problem is people perceive me as louder."
What I'm trying to say is, Sophie. So maybe in that infomercial, like, the before is like a little guy and the after is a big guy, but all
Yeah,
his arms are big and uniform, like,
right.
"Arr." But then um when Godric does it,
Yeah,
like instead of being ooh, his arms are like
yep,
because they're not uniform. They're kind of all
yeah.
over the place, and it's like
And the best thing
the
about that
reveal.
infomercial is that the
Yeah.
first 200 callers get a free dragon head.
Yes. Like a reveal, like when he gets his arms, like
Mm-hmm.
the veil comes off the reveal, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Is it supposed to look this way?" And the surgeon like, "Yeah, yeah, you look great. You look great. You
Revenge
look."
Body with Godric the Grafted.
What's that?
There was like a show, it was like Revenge Body with one of the Kardashians, I can't remember. No, it was like you got dumped by someone and then she like takes you to the gym and you get a bunch of plastic surgery and you come out looking really hot and they're like, damn, I can't believe I dropped that.
Maybe that's what. Okay, that's another theory. That's another Godric theory. The Kardashians did this. Saturday night stack Elden Ring. So too. Okay, so
Yeah.
okay. So let's talk about the boss fight.
Okay. AKA the only encounter you have with him.
Yes. How
Yeah,
do you
okay.
feel about that? Tell me your thoughts and emotions.
What it said to me or how it works mechanically.
Whatever.
um, it's in terms of demigod fights, I think it's the most reasonable.
Okay.
Um, I know like a lot of people really like Radahn, but Radahn, I feel like if you get to Radahn on a lowish level, by which I mean like we'll say under level 60,
Hmm.
he can like two shot you.
Hmm.
And given that he has a lot of like weird flailing rolling things, that really means he can one shot you because he'll hit you once and then hit you again as you're recovering. So like the Radahn fight, like it's a really good spectacle, but it can also, if you're not strong enough, just in terms of raw numbers, it drags on for a really long time, and you can get one-shotted and have to do the whole thing again, and it's quite like exasperating if it happens to you
Okay.
over and over again, which it may have to me a couple of hours
Yeah.
ago. Whereas Godric, I feel like you can sort of reach Godric and do him like he's fine on pretty much any level because it's a pretty predictable sort of move set.
Okay.
The only thing that's like he has a lot of AOE attacks that like if you're in too close, I think you probably sort of don't have time to avoid. But yeah, like he's reasonable in terms of demigod. Him and Renala are like the two sort of like the demigod fights. I feel like I don't have to prepare for a goddamn eternity for because just however you get there, you can do them.
Hmm.
Um, in terms of the fight itself, like I think it's a good way of showing like a really unhinged, obsessive person who is very, very weak.
Hmm. Yeah.
And like something that we talked about with politics and ideas is like he's like a pitiable sort of comedic figure.
Hmm.
Like when he does that thing where he rips his own arm off and sticks a dragon head on and starts like bellowing like bow
Yeah.
like that. Like
Yeah.
it's not meant to be like, oh my god, this guy's gotten serious. Holy shit! It's like this man is a ridiculous parody of like no, but he's like a
Yeah.
grotesque parody of a king.
Yeah.
In the same way that sort of like him and Rykard, I think are the best expressions of that. That it's like if you just seek more and more power and more strength, you just debase yourself more and more.
Hmm.
Yeah, like they both become these like they're both sort of different like embodiments of like gluttony because like Reichardt like just consumes, make himself stronger, consumes and consumes and becomes a snake. And Godric sort of he's consuming his own subjects, becoming this sort of horrible spider thing made out
Hmm.
of arms. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think honestly like he may actually be my favorite of the demigods. Of the ones I mean, not counting like later on, but the ones we have to fight to get to Langdon.
Hmm.
He's probably my favorite in terms of a character because he's like fucked up and weak and pathetic, and that makes him sort of interesting. As
Yeah.
opposed to like Melania, who's just sort of like, yeah,
Hmm. Um, he does one of my favorite moves in the entire game.
yeah,
His stupid rolls. Because
yeah,
he looks ridiculous. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I gotta roll. Just like, what are you doing?
But I mean, if you had that many arms, like,
Yeah.
you're very good at cartwheeling.
Is that's how he fought Melania? She's like, she comes with her like sword and she's ready. And she's like,
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, what are you doing? Blah, 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 blah.
She's just standing there going like.
Yeah.
And eventually he's like, oh, I'm pooped.
Yeah. Um, and that's a good point. With the dragon arm, it just gets ridiculous. And I
Yeah, yeah.
really actually like that because it's like action movies, at some point like the hero is like, "Oh no, I can't anymore. I'm like losing." And then something happens and it's like, "Oh, I'm winning again." So, if you were an
Yeah.
action hero, that would actually like
But you know, in his head, he's an action hero.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I'm so cool. Love arms." Yeah. Sophie, I had another vision
Mhm.
about the dragon arm.
You're gonna graft Baby Yoda onto yourself later. Because it's
You
behind
do it
you.
now. He's right there. Sophie, I
Yeah.
had a vision. I know how.
I can't get over how huge that thing is.
It
Because
is.
the camera does a thing with perspective where it's like, oh, it's just like the size of a cushion. And then you hold it up and it's bigger than your fucking torso.
It is.
Yeah.
Sophie.
Yeah.
So, Godrick.
Godric.
Do you know how he got his dragon arm?
How? Well, I mean, I do, but go on.
So, he was really good friends with the dragon. And one day the dragon texts him, like, "No, Godrick, I'm getting old. Like, just want to say, like, you're really great. I did my best to like raise you because your family doesn't like you, and I tried to be like a mentor. And I
Yeah.
just hope like I did a good enough job.
I can actually see this being in the game. Like this strikes me as a potential Vardy video. Yeah.
And then Godric replies with like, "Oh, that's great. Thanks, I appreciate it. When you die, can I have your head? Can I graft your face on my arm?" And the dragon's like, "Absolutely not." And Godric is like, "Okay, yeah, I respect that. So unrelated question. If I want to cut through dragon scale, what's a good weapon?" It's just like, and the next scene
Well,
is like, ah, with his dragon head.
what you need to understand is that every dragon that comes into Limgrave has to sign an organ donor card.
Oh my god.
Like, what's this for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were saying it may have gone down another way?
Well, fucking they tell you.
They didn't tell me.
The three NPCs. Vare is just like, Godric's acquired a new toy, right?
Mhm.
And they hype up like Godric has like he's got some new weapon that we don't know about, and then the first thing that happens when the fight starts is Godric sees the dragon, and he's like, "Our mighty dragon, thou art a true-born heir."
Mhm.
So I think they're talking about the dragon.
But that doesn't contradict my theory.
That's true. They can both work alongside each other.
Thank you. And your theory doesn't tell us how he got it. It tells us that he has it.
Well,
My
it's
theory.
impaled. There's
So,
dragons everywhere. He could have just shot one down.
or he could have been like,
Yes, it's possible. It's okay. Godwin befriended a dragon. Maybe Godric befriended a dragon, but because it's a Godric, it was a much worse dragon. Not as bad as the one that can't move or the one that has scarlet rot, but it's not very good.
"Thank you, Sophie." Oh.
I'm placing the Beast Regent upon myself so that I can be a true lord.
Yeah. Um so before we move on to one more thing I wanted to ask you about.
Oh, this had
Do
an
you,
outline? This mess?
um do you have anything to say about Godric? Anything we missed?
I have quite a lot of things to say about Godric, but it's turned into this now, and I'm like, I should probably save these if we do a proper podcast on Godric.
You know what? Oh well, then I'll save my good stuff too. Scroll, 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 scroll. Let's get to this point that I was like, I don't know if I want to bring it up because it sounds a little silly. But now,
Okay,
now,
okay, okay.
now, if that's the game we're playing,
Elden Ring, yes.
Sophie,
Yes, Sin.
I'm assuming you met Godfrey the hologram.
You mean go to Froy?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
What is their deal?
Okay, so it's essentially a refight with Godric,
Hmm.
but it doesn't do the phase 2, so there's no dragon arm bit. You fight them in Altus, outside of Lanedale, and if you snoop around that area enough, you eventually get like an one. I think it's one of the ashes, one of the spirit ashes, talks about how like there was a knight that had to fight uh, Godfrey and like put down his rebellion. Essentially, there've been multiple sort of sieges of Landell at this point. One of them was led by Godfrey, and Godfrey is placed in an Everjail. And when you defeat him, you get the Godfrey icon, which shows again like there's this obsession in that bloodline with Godfrey as like Godfrey is the most important one. Godfrey is the husband of Marika. Godfrey is the true Elden Lord. So it's carried on like throughout this generation. Like nothing can possibly live up to Godfrey.
Now, Sophie,
Mm-hmm.
that's actually not what happened. If you pay close attention, you'll notice that Godefroy kind of looks like Godric. Why is that? Did you ever consider to think that Godefroy is Godric? Why would Godric need to do that? Why
See,
would
that's this. Okay, this is the difference between us, because you go like, did you ever notice? Did you ever think maybe that is Godric? But if he is, then why? Whereas I am the opposite. I'm like, why would that happen? It's probably not him.
Well, Sophie, I have an explanation.
All right.
So one day, Godric calls Mel- not Melania, not Milana, Marica.
Okay.
So he okay, I have to do a demonstration to explain this. Makes
Was this
sense.
on
Okay.
Facebook? Was it the phone? I'm getting a little
No, it's like a
confused about
regular phone. Like
a regular phone. Okay, okay. What's his
what?
ringtone?
Why am I using? I'm using like a controller for my AC as a phone, but I shouldn't be doing that. That's ridiculous because I have an actual phone here. Look, now this is realistic. I can even press buttons and make. I don't have to do poop poop poop. Look, okay. So, okay, Sophia, you ready? So, Godric calls America, right? And he's like, "Hey, America, I hear you're retiring. I think I could replace you. I could be like Godric the Eternal. What do you think? Pretty cool. I'm pretty cool." And then America's like, "Well, maybe, but like, I would need a reference." And then Godric's like, yeah, sure. You can ask my cousin Godfrey. He will give you an excellent reference for me." And then America's like, "Okay, can I talk to him?" And then Godric is like, "Yeah, he's right here. Hi, this is Godfrey. I think Godric is an excellent dude for this position." So it's just him pretending to be his cousin Godfrey to give America a good reference so he can replace her after she retires.
It's good. It's very good. It's very good.
Thank you.